Today's actually going to be, I hope that it's going to give you some real practical tips on how to make effortless. Okay. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's effortless power content planning so that your content actually creates conversations. It moves people through a journey, through an experience of getting to know, like, trust, and eventually buy from you. So, if you're brand new to my world, welcome. My name is Ginna. I'm the owner and founder of Hype Media, stylishly branded and Style Rebel Mama. And we work with experts just like yourself, established business owners, coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, to help you to show up on social media as an irresistible go-to solution to premium clients. And we do this using a very simple, scalable, holistic marketing framework, which is part of what I've been sharing over the last, now it's going to be episode 5 of our Invisible to Visible series. What I'm going to share with you today, you have probably heard over and over again, and probably because you've heard it over and over again is because it works. But many of you, including myself, when I was first starting off, didn't do these things. And these are real specific things that if you really planned out and intentionally with purpose got these things done when it comes to content, you would do content with your eyes closed. Okay. So these are the same skills, although we definitely deep dive into them. We workshop them. I coach people through them. I consult people with them that we use within our programs and with our own agency clients. Probably what I'm going to tell you is going to be a no-brainer, but you're hearing it again. And maybe, this time around, it'll like click something and it'll help you to make some changes in how you're currently creating content. All right. So what I want to share are some actionable strategies for literally creating effortless content planning that actually converts your audience into leads, and those leads into prospects, and those prospects into actual clients and customers. So the first thing, number one, is this is actually something that to me was a lifesaver when creating content, and it's having a thematic content calendar. What I mean by that is, look, as a business owner, I don't care how long you've been in business, whether it's been a week, 10 years. Okay. We, as CEOs of our business, we need to know what's going on in our business ahead of time. So, if you are able to plan out even on a quarterly basis, not an entire year, although you should have about a year sketched out of what kinds of events you want to do, what kind of promotions you want to do, things like that, depending on the time of year, have a calendar of an annual calendar with already things on your calendar. Okay. Now, on a quarterly basis, so for first quarter, you should know, okay, I'm going to be doing, maybe you do master classes. I'm going to be doing a master class on this date in January, on this date in February, on this date in March. Or I'm going to be holding this type of promo during the month of February because it's more of like, the month of love, right? So again, it depends on your business. I'm not going to go super deep into that, but you should already have topics for each month or each quarter of the year, as well as relevant events that are going to happen. Okay. So, what you want to do with that is you want to create content that is aligning with those events that are coming up, with those themes that are happening, with those promos. That way, you can have a theme to every single week of the month that leads people to that next thing. Okay, so I'm going to give you a great example. It's actually happening right now. Like at the moment that I am with you on this live stream, we're doing a 12-part series from invisible to visible. This series is leading you into my workshop, the Ignite Your Influence to Profits workshop, which is on February 20th. So, from the beginning of the month of January through about the second week of February, I am doing 2 live streams per week that all build upon each other. So if you started with episode 1 a couple of weeks ago, and then you caught episode 2, and then 3, 4, and now 5, these are all building upon each other. And by the week of February 13th or 12th, I think it is our last 2 episodes of this series, that will then lead you into the workshop, which is happening February 20th. That's already been on my calendar. I knew when that was going to happen. Right. And so all of my planning, my content, everything that I'm sharing, my message is all related to how to ignite your visibility on social media to create a profit for yourself. And so we have a theme to every single week. We know what's happening. It's laid out in a calendar. Twice a week, I'm doing these live streams. We have the episode name for every single week, but we have planned it out ahead of time. Make sense? So, what this does is it really allows you to have a more structured approach to your content, and it keeps it super focused and relevant. Relevant to you and your own business goals, but then also relevant to your audience and what's important for them. Okay. So, number two is batch creation and scheduling. And if you can get a hang of this and you stick to it, I promise you it will be a game changer for not only your time management, but also the activities that you're doing in your business. Because I'm going to tell you this, content is not a revenue generating activity. However, if you are using social media as a means to get your message out, content is a necessity. What happens is we spend way too much time creating content and then we don't spend any time having conversations with people, doing follow-ups, reaching out to people, offering people our offers, our services, our products because we're so focused on like putting content out there all the time. But if you get in a habit of batching your content and then scheduling it once you have created it, so you schedule it ahead of time, you're going to have a lot more time to do revenue generating activities. So I encourage you to practice batch creating and scheduling your content. I'll give you the example again of our Invisible to Visible series. I batch created my topics for every single episode. There's 12 episodes in the series. I batch created that all at one time. Okay. So I literally opened up my calendar. I thought of those 12 pieces to help you go from invisible to visible on social media. I created the topics for them. I created the video description so you knew what I was going to be talking about and the emails. Now, the topics I batch created at once, the emails, the video descriptions I do weekly. Okay. Because it was just a lot for me to do all at once, like 12, right? Pretty much. It could be 24 emails if I want to do an email like 3 days in advance and an email the morning of. There's the video description for each, the video title for each, right? So that's 12 each of those. So that can take some time. But what really helped me was already knowing what my topic was and what my video title was going to be. Okay. And then I can move from there. So I'm going to give you a really quick example. So, say you're a business coach and you designate yourself maybe once or twice a month, or let's say the month of February, for example, you want to focus on leadership skills. So, what you want to do is each week within the month of February, you want to dedicate each week to address a subtopic of leadership skills. One could be team motivation, another one could be decision making, another one can be communication, another one could be conflict resolution. Now you have 4 topics for the month of February. All topics relate to your focus on leadership skills. Okay, makes sense. And then all of your content throughout those weeks will relate to those subtopics. And this is something that we actually will work with you on inside of the workshop. All right. Now, once you have those subtopics, work with a week at a time if that's the most that you can do, but at least a week at a time. Take your first week of the month, a week prior at least. So let's say we're talking about the first week of February. This week, because next week is already, oh my gosh, can you believe that? Next week, Thursday, is already February 1st. So this week, you want to be working on your content for next week. Once you work on your content, meaning you have written the captions for every day of the week, your posts for every day of the week, you know what image you're going to use. Are you going to use an image? Maybe you're going to use a video, right? You lay this out in a calendar, get it done, and actually schedule it ahead of time. Schedule it through Meta Business Suite, schedule it through your personal profile. If you have professional mode set on, you can schedule things right inside of Instagram now. You can schedule your Facebook business page, Instagram, and your group content all inside of Meta Business Suite if they're all connected to the same page. You can use something like Metricool, which I love. We actually use Metricool as well because we schedule our content over on LinkedIn also. You can use that and schedule in all the places all at once. If you want a link directly to Metricool, let me know. I do have an affiliate link and I'm happy to drop that. So schedule it. Okay. And what this is going to allow you to do is just to be consistent with your presence. And it's going to take out that daily effort and that daily wasted time that you're probably taking that's not allowing you to focus on revenue generating activities for your business. Okay. All right. Number 3 is having engagement driven content ideas. Okay. So, what I mean by this is you want to leverage your audience engagement for content ideas. This means pay attention to the questions that people are asking, the comments, the feedback, and use that to create new content because you know that if you are creating content that is specifically from people's questions, people's comments, and their feedback, you're going to create content that your audience actually wants. Okay. So I'll give you a real example. Let's say again that you're a business coach and you notice that several clients or maybe several audience of your audience members are struggling with time management because they said, I don't have time for that. Or maybe you posted something and they're like, oh, I wish I had time for that, right? That right there is like ding, ding, ding. Time management seems to be a keyword or key phrase that people are struggling with. What you could is create a content series. Maybe you do it as a live stream like I'm doing now that's offering practical time management tips and tools. And what this is going to do is it's going to ensure that your content is both engaging, but it's also directly valuable to your audience because your audience has been telling you that they are struggling with time management. Make sense? So many times people are like, I just don't know what to post on social media. Listen and watch. And if you don't have a lot of engagement just yet, so it's making it difficult for you to actually know, go to other people's social media profiles that do something similar that you do. They're in your same industry and check out what their audience is saying. You don't need to know these people, right? But read their comments. Here's another little trick. If you go to Amazon and you read book reviews, so look up books that relate to your industry, look up the reviews. Those comments that people leave as reviews are great content idea prompts for you. Because those comments typically will say, oh my gosh, this book was so good. Before reading this book, I was struggling with blank. After reading this book, this is how it helped me. Right. So if you focus on the things that they were struggling with, you can create content that helps people with that. Okay, so let me do a quick little recap. We are on episode 5 of our From Invisible to Visible series, talking all about how to effortlessly plan content that actually converts. Okay, so number 1 is have a thematic content calendar, meaning create a content calendar that involves planning content around specific themes, topics, or events that you are going to have that month. Number 2, you want to batch create and then schedule. So practice batch creating and scheduling your content by having specific blocks of time that you can sit down and create like a week's worth of content and then scheduling it out in advance right in the moment. Okay. And number 3, engagement driven content ideas using your audience's engagement. So listen and pay attention to questions, comments, and feedback that you're receiving, and then create content that directly addresses your audience's needs with those. All right. So I hope that this was helpful. And remember always to stay social. Bye, guys.